So next we're going to hear from our first set of legal clients, or Legito clients rather, today. They're from Telia company, a communication services company that connects over 20,000 customers in the Nordics and Baltics. Christel Eriksson Gotehead, Vice President and Head of Group Legal Sourcing, and Viv Naslund, Senior Group Legal Counsel, are here to discuss their success story in implementing Legito in their legal department. Please welcome to the stage Christel and Viv.
Hi everyone. Oh, it works perfect. Excellent. My name is Christel Eriksson Götehed, and we are here from Telia, who is the biggest telecom operator in the Nordics and in the Baltics. So I've been working, as they said, for Telia for many years. Today I'm heading a team of lawyers that is assisting the sourcing community in 6 countries. So Viva.
Yes, I'm Viva Naslund. I'm one of the lawyers working in Christel's team. I have been working at Telia now for 5 years, and before joining Telia, I worked in a law firm as an attorney at law. And this is an environment that is not really encouraging trial and error. So this legal automation journey was me a bit challenging, but at the same time very rewarding. So I'm really happy to talk here about our story.
Yeah, and I think we have been invited here to talk about what we in Telia call for drafting. That is a contract-generated tool that we have developed using the Legito platform. So, excellent. Over to you, Viva.
Yes. Our journey towards contract automation started already in 2018, when our legal team had a brainstorming session where we tried to figure out what would be the best way to support our sourcing community. And in that brainstorming session, we came to a conclusion that we need a contract automation tool. We put together the initial wish list. We were looking for a tool that would enable the sourcing managers, based on a questionnaire, get automated way, tailor-made templates that are specifically made their specific case. We were also looking for a tool that would have a clause library that would facilitate creating different templates based on our legal boilerplates. We were looking for a tool that would have a simple enough backend so that our own legal team could set up the automated templates without having too much of a programming knowledge or without having to buy too much consultancy services from a supplier. And last but not least, we were looking for a user-friendly front-end tool so that the sourcing managers could easily see how their answers to the questionnaire are affecting the contract content. It took us some time to take the decision about the platform. We started first with a 6-month pre-work, and we looked into 16 different systems. And as it was recommended in our earlier session, you should go quite fast down to a smaller number of systems. So we shortlisted 3 different tools, and we run 3-month pilot projects with all these 3 shortlisted tools. And we didn't satisfy of only looking at the demos, how the suppliers show us how it's possible to automate our templates, but we really wanted to try ourselves hands-on how we can automate our own templates. And after this piloting, we had several sessions where we discussed the pros and cons of these different systems with our team, and we decided that it's a Legito tool that we want to continue with.
Yes, thank you, Viva. And this is some of the things like that we wanted to solve. We want to kind of repeat it. We are assisting like 140 sourcing managers in 6 countries, so we are kind of totally outnumbered. And that means that our sourcing managers have to do a lot of work by themselves. So they do manual work of trying to combine different templates for different things that we have them provided. And this took a long time for them, and they were always afraid of doing wrong, but we can't do the job for them. So we needed, because out of 140 people, some are really stars and some are beginners, so we needed a way to make sure that we had a flexible system where they could combine the different deliverables. And when they did that, to decrease the amount of manual work. So what happens now is that we have used the Legito platform, and we have created where they can combine all these deliverables. So depending on their answers, different sections in and out, definitions in and out, annexes go in and out, and they have the renumbering done. So what used to take them maybe 3 hours, now takes them like half an hour if they have everything needed when they do the first shot to create the template. So what this also helps us is to reduce the human error aspect, because they feel secure when they get the questions answered, and also that they see the questions and see what happens directly in the document. That is something that we found very user-friendly. And of course, as a consequence, now we can actually tailor-make the contracts and only have the relevant section for the cases, which also lead to shorter negotiations with the supplier.
If we look a bit more detailed in our implementation journey, it took us some time to choose Legito platform, but once we had made up our mind, it actually went quite quick from start to launch. It took us only 6 months. And it's important to understand that it wasn't 6 months our whole legal team working only with contract automation. We continued carrying on our job as normal, and on top of it, we did the Legito implementation. We purchased the licenses in February last year, and after that, it was 4 intensive months of trying to get the first launch ready, what was earlier referred to as minimum viable product. We took our master agreement and the most important delivery contracts to put them into Drafty to start the first launch. And we got ready with this minimum viable product just before the summer. And as we didn't want to have a one big bang launch, we started with a smaller group of really experienced sourcing managers and asked them over the summer to test the system and start to implement their first agreements in Drafty. They gave us a lot of valuable feedback. They noticed some of our mistakes that we had done in the conditioning. And after summer, we came back. We took all this valuable inputs and raised the bar and got ready for the big launch in October. And before the big launch in October, we also run ourselves the training courses for the sourcing managers who are using the front-end part of Drafty. And now we are really happy to see that the system is in use. We have more than 140 sourcing managers who are using the Drafty tool, and we have 9 lawyers who are trained in the back end who can set up the agreements in Drafty. And from October to today, we have seen that our sourcing managers have created over 400 agreements already in Drafty. So we're really happy that it's in actual use.
So let's talk a little about the pre-work that we did. We have kind of for years tried to find a structured way of working. So we had a good toolbox, because automatization, you have to have good stuff to put in there. So we already had a workroom up and running where we had kind of fully blown templates, a full legal toolbox where that was used in all the 6 countries. So we had a good starting position there.
But what we also did, that we just didn't take the existing toolbox and mechanically put it into Drafty. We also had a deeper look in order to understand how we can bring our templates to a next level. In the old workroom setup, we had only the Word documents, and we didn't have a good way to guide our sourcing managers how they really do the final setup of the delivery contracts. And that meant that in our general terms and conditions on the master agreement level, we had built in a safety net of a lot of commercial terms that were there in order the sourcing manager missed something in a delivery contract. But now when we implemented Drafty, we got in the questionnaire and a good way to guide our sourcing managers. So we really dared to remove this safety net from a master agreement level and bring the commercial clauses down to the delivery contract level where we actually believe that they belong to. And that resulted in reducing the master agreement content a lot and making the slimmer master agreement that are much easier to negotiate for the sourcing manager. And just to illustrate, please don't read it. Here is the table of content of our earlier master agreement. And as you see, it was a lot of clauses that were regulating the actual deliveries. And now we have moved all those from the master agreement and took them down to the delivery contract level.
So this is what it looked like. So what do we have in Drafty today? When we launched then in kind of October, November, then we of course had the master agreement, and then we had the content for like the deliverables from 10 delivery contracts, and the thing is here, of course, as you can see, then we had actually achieved what we wanted, because they got the question, what are you buying? And then they could click in whatever the combinations, and within a couple of minutes, everything in or out, definitions fixed, annexes there, so the full package done. So that's exactly what we wanted to achieve. After that, we have added 5 more deliverables. So now actually we have in Drafty like deliverables corresponding to all the different delivery contracts that we had in the kind of the workroom before. On top of that, we have like data processing agreement package, and that is when we use the suppliers template and they are actually processing our data. We have a full-blown package ready with questions, annexes, etc. that can be then more or less attached to any supplier templates. We have the data process like non-disclosure agreements. We have the pilot. In the pipeline, and here of course we always work very close with our users, so whenever we do the pipeline it's together with them. So now we're into actually doing the reseller. I think that's the next one, and that means that Telia is a reseller to the supplier's product and sell it on to our customers. To make sure to facilitate for that seamless process is the next ones that will be in Drafty, and also the single purchase contracts. And I think it's also the cooperation agreement.
And if we have a sneak peek in the front-end part of the tool, this is how our start of a delivery contract looks when the sourcing managers will start to draft a delivery contract. As a first step, they need to choose what are they going to buy. Are they going to buy one deliverable, or are they going to buy several different deliverables under this agreement? And we are really happy that the Legito tool is so flexible, so it's possible to have the follow-up questions popping in and out depending on the choice of the different deliverables. So for example, if a sourcing manager is saying that she's going to buy goods, the follow-up question will pop up, how are you going to buy these goods? Are you going to buy them directly from a manufacturer, or are you going to buy them from a distributor? And based on these questions and answers, the content of the actual contract will change. And if the sourcing manager would say that, no, I'm not going to buy goods, I'm going to buy services instead, then this question about how you're going to buy, are you going to buy from a manufacturer or from a distributor, this wouldn't pop up because this wouldn't be relevant in this case. So the front end is quite easy and self-explanatory for the sourcing managers, and if they need additional guidance, you can see these question marks there. If they will click on the question mark, they get additional guidance from our legal team. But this very easy front end, it comes with a bit more tricky back end.
Yeah, that was a little bit more challenging to get into the Legito system. As we told you in the beginning, we actually did 3 kind of live pilots with our own templates. And Legito was the one that took us a little bit longer time to get used to, because it actually had more options, more flexibility. But not a problem at all, but maybe a week more or 2 weeks more to get a hang of it. And that's what we appreciate today, because we wanted that flexibility. We want to be able to do different layers within one big kind of concept. And we also feel now, of course, we have really happy sourcing managers that don't have to cut and paste. And as you can see, this is also kind of a shot then from the back end. And here you can see we have 4 different definitions of actual date of delivery, depending on what deliverables are chosen. And what we really think is important in the back end, especially if you make huge setups like this one, which actually more or less replaced 100 documents with all the annexes, etc., is that you spend time on the conditioning. And that, I think, is the most important job for us lawyers. So whenever we do conditioning in such a huge setup as this, we always do it 2 and 2, because I believe in the two pair of eyes principle, and also we make sure we double check our conditioning before releasing it. But not the problem at all.
Yeah.
We have been able to do it by ourselves.
Yeah, it has been a really fun journey, and we have learned a lot in the way. And here are some of the takeaways we want to give to you from our journey, so you can learn from our mistake without doing them yourself. The first learning is that it's really important to do it as a teamwork exercise, because the whole journey at Telia started off mainly based on 3 real enthusiasts in the legal tech. And they were doing the pilots, and they learned how to use the system. But then life happened, and before we had managed to purchase the licenses, 2 of these 3 enthusiasts, they were recruited to the Baltic unicorn companies. So we needed to start over. And then we decided that we will not base the whole implementation only on a few number of resources. We do it as a real team exercise, so that everyone in our team of 9 lawyers could learn how the back end works and how we set up the agreements. And it had actually 2 reasons. One is that we wanted to include everyone and feel everyone involved. And the second one was also that to carry it on and maintain the system, you can't be dependent on only a few resources. You need more people to know the system and how it works.
Yeah, so that actually ties into the next learning. So now we talked about resources. Actually, one of these stars that actually was there with me in the beginning is in the room, so hi, Camille. So that's the good part with this. You always meet again, and that's so nice. So resources is extremely important, and especially me kind of being the leader of a team, it's extremely important for me to make sure that I include everyone, because I think the legal tech, everyone should know, everyone wants. I mean, you can't stand at the train station and see the train leaving without you. So I made sure that everyone is on board. The second thing is that I think it's really easy to just start doing, like, you take the first template. No, this was easy. Let's take one more. You have to stop and do a roadmap. Because we did a mistake that we got a little bit super excited there in the beginning, and the way that we structured the annexes, actually, we kind of could not directly reuse them for the next template because we had used different words, etc. So anyway, so sit down, do a roadmap, because you will succeed. And then it's so important that you have like the next step and the third step kind of planned before starting.
Another thing that you should think a bit before you start running is, how do you want your documents to look like when you finally download them into Word? We were too eager, and we, in our team, everyone started to create their templates. And then when we came to one meeting and very proudly showed what we had done, then we figured out that, oops, they don't really have the same look and feel. And then we were very, very happy to get really good help from the Legito team to fix this issue quite fast. We called them up and said that, hi, now we are in a trouble. We have created this whole template suite, and the documents look very different. And then Eduardo?
Yeah, Eduardo, our
Eduardo.
hero.
No, our
In a week
hero.
he fixed it.
He really fixed our Telia house style, and helped us also to take the old documents that we had created up to this new design. So now we are happy to have our documents looking professional and aligned.
And also last thing, we have already touched on it. As we told you, we were kind of ready to launch before the summer, and we wanted to make sure, because you only get the first time to launch something, and we wanted it to be a success. So as the summer was approaching, we took the liberty of like just releasing it to 20 sourcing managers in different locations, and because we wanted them to check the conditioning for us. What we didn't expect was actually that by doing that, we created a hype, and we were not kind of aware of us doing it. Because what happened, of course, was that one person had this kind of tool, and the others were sitting like copy, paste, and then they see this guy or girl that just, in like 15, 20 minutes, creates the document and is ready. And we had also told these persons, please, you can start doing templates for the other ones. I mean, it's great, or a first draft. And that actually was a perfect way, because instead of us kind of running around pushing this new tool on the sourcing community, they started to call us and ask if they could be, can I get my login? When is it my turn? When are you coming, etc. So thank you to that kind of start during that summer session. I think we had a really good buy-in when we did all the trainings in October.
So now we have shared our learnings. We really want to share with you also the good feedback we have got from our sourcing team. They are really happy about the tool. They think that it's fast, it's facilitating their work a lot, and it's really in use. So I think that's the biggest compliment to us, that they are using it every day today.
Yeah, and thank you guys for listening in to us, okay?
And if any one of you wants to hear more about our learnings and our story, just catch us up later in the evening. Thank you so much.
All right. Thank you, ladies. That was great. So let me ask you, what's next in the journey with Legito at Telia?
Ooh, that's a good one. But now we've done the sourcing. That's one side. That's the buying. Now we will look into the sales. And by doing that, I also say that we want to make sure that all the lawyers assisting the sales organizations get into legal tech, and then they, together with us, because we will assist them, will try to see how we can use it for the sales organizations.
Very good, very good. Well, thank you very much. We appreciate it. And everyone, we're going to take a 20-minute coffee break, so we'll reconvene in 20 minutes, okay? Thank you so much.